What all of you watch occurred is just how reckless ICE is. It is unacceptable that me as a member of Congress, as a black woman here in this city, was just assaulted by multiple ICE officers while regional directors of ICE watched it happen. Since we toured the whole facility with them, no one offered an apology or said anything to me about what occurred out here. Not only was I assaulted, but Congressman Bonnie Watson was assaulted, and of course Congressman Rob Menendez was roughed up as he was trying to protect us. It makes no sense, and it is highly unacceptable how this administration is trying to restrict Congress from doing their bare duties and the responsibilities that the people have elected us to do. What we just witnessed was just disgusting. I am very upset. I am very angry, and I am very hurt that they could be able to do something like that to us. These are people who are supposed to be officers, who are supposed to protect us, and they have done none of that. If they can treat 3 members of Congress like that, just imagine how they can treat people on the street each and every day, both undocumented and people who are citizens here in this country. It makes absolutely no sense.
Boy. So we got to follow up on yesterday's bombshell story involving the woke Democrat mayor of Newark, who is also running for governor of New Jersey, Ross Baraka, getting arrested for trying to rescue illegal immigrants from an ICE detention center, right? Because that's how pro-illegal immigration the Democrat Party has become. They're trying to rescue illegals globally, right? Whether you're in El Salvador or right here in the United States of America, Democrats will come and try to save the illegals, right? Captain, save the illegals. That is essentially what the Democrat Party has become, okay? And we got to follow up on this story because there is a quote-unquote emergency rally that is scheduled to be held in protest of the Trump administration's arrest of New Jersey Mayor Ross Baraka at ICE facility, right? Now, again, this guy was arrested because he was trespassing, okay? He tried to essentially break into the facility. The Democrats are saying, nah, that's not the case. He did nothing wrong. In fact, they're the victims in this situation, according to them.
News here at 5. I'm Gilma Avalos.
I'm Adam Cooperstein. Mayor Ross Baraka of Newark arrested by federal agents outside an ICE detention center there. News 4's Checky Beckford is live with how this unfolded and what we need to know here. Checky.
Yeah, Adam, we're actually at the center where he's being held now, the detention center where he's being held. I should say the jail he's being held at. He was arrested at another location at a detention center that the mayor has long had issues with, saying that they were illegally occupying the space. ICE was without permits from the city, and he's been going there to have his voice be heard several days now. We're being told by Congress members what exactly happened when all of this occurred, when the mayor was arrested. But first, I'm going to step out of the way so you can see the crowd here that is gathered outside of the jail where Mayor Ross Baraka is being held. You've got a large number of people out here. Some of them were with the mayor, I believe, outside of the detention facility earlier in the day when this happened. Now, according to Congress members, Congressman Rob Menendez, LaMonica Iverson, and Congresswoman Bonnie Watson-Coleman, they 3 were at the detention center separately for an oversight meeting for the detention center, which they say they do as part of their duties as Congress people. They go and visit these different detention centers, as is their right. And so they were there waiting for a meeting. They were waiting for about an hour and a half. At that point, the mayor showed up, they say, and he was outside of the detention center when they say some of the workers there, some of the ICE agents, started going outside. 20 of them, they're telling us, 20 ICE agents with masks on and armed ICE agents went out to confront the mayor outside, they say, on public property. And at that point, some sort of altercation occurred where the Congress people say not only were they assaulted, other members of the public were also assaulted, and that the mayor was taken into custody despite, from their perspective, not having done anything to warrant being arrested. So again, this happened just a few hours ago. The mayor visiting an ICE detention center in a city which he has been questioned the legalities of it being there when he was taken into custody. And now we have this crowd of people here out in front of the jail where he is now being held, including those Congress members who are calling for his immediate release. We're live in Newark. Checky Beckford, News 4, New York.
Okay, and I want to go ahead and play Alina Habba's side of the story, the federal government side of the story in regards to what happened.
The mayor was outside the fence and that he was taken away by 20 armed individuals and that they were all intimidated by federal officials on this property. What do you say?
I'm going to say the truth and correct them. I'm sorry that you're trying to politic this. Let me be very clear. You're right. Congress people have the right to investigate, and we allowed them in, number one. Number two, the mayor was actually inside the facility, was warned, was asked to leave several times, more than once, refused to leave, was put under arrest inside the facility, walked out when he was told he was under arrest, and then was cuffed. That is what happened. Lucky for our team in HSI, who I stand behind, who many people don't understand, the Department of Justice encompasses that. They did absolutely everything correct. If you look at these individuals' Twitter accounts, they have been openly saying they are going to go in. There is a reason these Congress people are standing out there running amok and running their mouths as usual. But however, I will tell you this. The mayor was inside, was told he was going to be under arrest inside when he refused to leave after several obligations, several notifications that he should remove himself, chose not to do so, and then was placed under arrest when he walked out of the facility. So while I love the scheme, the game, and the tactics of these individuals that are perfectly fine and were not touched, I will say very clearly, the mayor
They were
did not have
not
a right to be
assaulted,
there.
these three individuals? None of them were assaulted?
Does
This
it
is
look
what
like they were assaulted, Martha?
No, they looked
Does it look
fine.
like
But
looked
I'm
absolutely
asking,
fine.
you know, in terms of what happened in there, you know, it is very striking, especially after having read the list of at least some of the people who are in this facility. And I'm trying to figure out exactly what they are doing to protect the people of New Jersey.
It's called grandstanding, unfortunately, Martha. And when you break the law, there's no grandstanding that will help you, period. The end.
Yeah, that's exactly what they were doing, right? They were grandstanding. She's 100% correct. This is a campaign stunt. What they're trying to do is that they're trying to campaign on pushing back against President Trump and what the American people voted for. I don't think this is a smart campaign strategy from the Democrats, but that's what this is, okay? It's nothing more than a publicity stunt. And this is why they're boohoo whining and crying, right? Trying to pretend as if they are victims, okay? Which is exactly what Ras Baraka did as he was released from jail. Okay, and he has been charged with trespassing. So he went to MSDNC and the China News Network in order to, again, try to pretend as if he's the victim in this situation.
Well, I mean, I just want to first say that the guys from Homeland Security were very respectful. They treated me with dignity, and I appreciate that. You know, while I spent my last few hours in holding area inside of I believe it's a detention facility that they have here in the city of Newark, you know, that Homeland Security has. So, you know, it wasn't unbearable, but it was definitely, you know, a humiliating experience and uncomfortable for me overall. But, you know, in the end, those guys did the best that they could to make me feel comfortable, and I appreciate that.
In a day that's really outraged a lot of people, including myself, have you thought about taking any legal action in light of what took place today and what happened to you?
Well, I mean, we're going through this process now, and obviously I will confer with my lawyers to figure out what's the best pathway forward on this. I think they completely violated my rights. I'm the mayor of the city. I have the right to go anywhere in this city, particularly in places where I think our laws are being violated. I went on up on in a driveway with our healthcare inspectors and our fire inspectors early on, and we've been doing that for the last couple of days. They've been ignoring us. And actually, the Congress people who have oversight on this went onto the property and tried to get inside, and they made them wait over an hour, and they never got in. Never.
They mentioned that, and one of the things that the Congresswoman I spoke with alluded to is that she thinks they were tipped off, that perhaps they were tipped off to you coming. I don't know. Of course, this all needs to be looked into, but the nature of your arrest with masked members of ICE just felt, and we've all seen the video, I mean, incredibly suspect, just watching it.
It was terrible.
Go.
They obviously targeted me. It was more. I wasn't the only one out there. They came directly to me, right? And tried to arrest me. No one else, me. And so I honestly believe, I was targeted there.
Yeah, so you see now you heard that. Okay, the woke mayor is trying to play victim, right? He says he believes that he was targeted, even though nobody asked him to pull up to this ICE detention facility to do a quote-unquote inspection to make sure that the illegals have great living conditions, right? This is what they're saying, right? That they're showing up to make sure that the illegals have a nice bed to sleep in, okay? that the air is clean, right? This is what they are concerned about, right? They're more concerned about the living conditions of illegals than probably the living conditions that some of his constituents are living in the projects, right? Or some of the bad parts of Newark, right? Has this guy pulled up to any of the rundown neighborhoods, any of the low-income neighborhoods in Newark and expressed concerns about their living conditions, right? No, I'm pretty sure he's never done that before, but apparently he's doing that for the illegals. And of course, you have the race hustlers, the black liberals, the Democrat Party mouthpieces like Roland Martin coming out and basically trying to play the race card, right? Trying to say that low-key, this happened because of racism.
This is the reality what we're living in. This is who these thugs are. And look, this reminds me of going back to Jim Crow days, folks, of Sheriff Jim Clark, of course, who was the head of the state police in Selma. This is who that was. You got Sheriff Jim Clark, who had no problem cracking skulls and beating black protesters. Then you got Bull Connor, of course, who was there, that absolute racist in Birmingham as well. That's who the Trump administration is. We said this earlier. They do not care about the law. They don't care about any of this. All they care about is power. And so that's what we're dealing with. Candace, there is no doubt that Donald Trump, Tom Homan, Stephen Miller, and all of these thugs today, they are nothing more than they are the 21st century version of Jim Clark and Bull Connor.
And listen, we see the seeds that they've been planting growing. Why? Because if you take a look at some of the headlines say that they were protesting, that they stormed the facility. And that's why the executive branch wants to take control of the media, because then they are created a narrative in order for them to act.
This is the statement from DHS. Today, as a bus of detainees were entering the security gate of Delaney Hall Detention Center, a group of protesters, including 2 members of Congress, stormed the gate and broke into the detention facility. The members, Robert Menendez Jr. and Bonnie Watson Coleman, and multiple protesters are holed up in a guard shack, the first security checkpoint. These members of Congress storming into the detention facility goes beyond bizarre political stunt and puts the safety of our law enforcement agents and the detainees at risk. Members of Congress are not above the law and cannot illegally break into detention facilities. Had these members requested a tour, we would have facilitated a tour of the facility. This is an evolving situation. We all know that's a lie, Candace, because we've had members of Congress trying to tour numerous other facilities all across the country, and Trump's people have like, nah, y'all ain't coming in.
That's right. And so listen, if you look at the video, Roz is outside. All right. He is outside. The mayor is outside of the gate. He hasn't even gotten in. Like Menendez was saying, we were meeting him and that had not happened. We did not know what was going on the other side. The other thing is that this is part of the process. They have congressional oversight to make sure that if you're building a new facility that has 1,000 beds, that you have the right permits. So it's within their purview. It's within their right. In fact, it's their responsibility to be there to make sure that they are actually doing what they're supposed to do, which they were not. Now, if you look at it, too, why was he the only one that was arrested? I mean, if you think about him running for governor, I would imagine that has something to do with it. This is when you don't want too much power to go unchecked.
Yeah, so I want you guys to understand the logic of these liberals. First and foremost, they're saying that this is racist, right? That this is Jim Crow, right? It's Jim Crow to arrest a black mayor that was trying to trespass, right? On top of that, okay, what this woman is saying is that, well, the political stunt here is not from the mayor, who clearly is engaged in a political stunt. Like, this is a political stunt for him to try to boost his campaign for governor, right? I mean, that's obviously what this is. No, it's the Trump administration, because arresting the mayor is them sending a message, right? They're trying to send a message that the mayor, okay, is some type of threat to power, right? I mean, that is what they come up with instead of just calling it what it is, right? This was a political stunt. I'm not sure if this dude meant to get arrested. If he didn't mean to get arrested, then it backfired because he got arrested and charged. But regardless, it was a political stunt by the mayor, okay, in order to try to draw attention to this situation so that he can raise money for his campaign to run for governor. That's all this is. That's all it is, okay? But to be honest with you, you know, I want to see more arrests, okay? I want to see more serious charges because I think that a lot of these Democrats are complicit when it comes to harboring these illegals, okay, trying to impede the federal government from doing their job. And at some point, they have to be held accountable, okay? They have to be held accountable. They were talking about getting arrested before Trump got in office, and they've been pushing President Trump's buttons, right? They've been pushing the administration's buttons. And at some point, the administration is going to arrest these people. They're going to have to. Right? Just like we arrested the woke judges, okay, who are trying to harbor and help the illegals evade ICE, right? We arrested them, okay? And Democrats, the mayors, congressmen, they can get arrested too. All of them get arrested, right? I hope that Letitia James is next, okay? We can go after Brandon Johnson. I'm just saying that if they want to play this game, I'm totally fine with it, right? Because if they want to grandstand on protecting illegal immigrants, if they want to make the midterms about that, if they want to make 2028 about that, I'm totally fine with it. I'm pretty sure that the American people do not mind seeing Democrats get arrested for trying to save illegal immigrants, right? Because the American people voted for the mass deportations, okay? They voted for that. So for Democrats to stand against it and to break the law, they're willing to break the law on behalf of illegals who have also broken the law. You can't talk about being the party of the rule of law. Well, how's it the rule of law to trespass, right? How's it the rule of law to fight on behalf of illegals coming into the country illegally, right? That's not rule of law. That's chaos. And that's the only thing the Democrats stand for at this point, and this is why we keep getting these chaotic stories. The Democrat Party is a party of chaos, okay? That's what we're witnessing here. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.